We met at AUT. We were all studying the Bachelor of Communication Studies course, and we all decided to major in radio. And so I guess that's probably when we started becoming best friends, probably. Yeah, we just sort of thought, why don't we, I don't know, start a company together and see if we can write our own stuff and make our own stuff. But we were pretty arrogant when we started. I think we sort of thought that we'd get together and then within 6 months we'd have a scripted comedy on air, and that wasn't the case.
10 years though, it's close.
10 years now, so...
That was close.
Yeah.
In fact, probably good we didn't straight away either.
Yeah.
Pretty unfunny.
It was awful, actually. You look back at some of the stuff you'd written back then. Awful.
I reckon the thing that says more than I ever could is white cardigan, red beard and grey hat. I reckon that's pretty much sums us up.
We were, wasn't it like 22, 23 or something?
So, yeah.
And we got the show and we walked into TV3 and we had our first meeting with the crew, and they're just looking at us like going, what the hell is going on? And then someone says, I remember someone going, so you're going to ISO those cameras? And I was going, what the hell is ISO? Yep, yeah, ISO the cameras.
And I think
that's what you normally do, right?
I think it probably got worse when one of the producers walked out topless, covered in baby oil, and made this noise. Come on. Haven't heard that in years.
Ryan was actually the weasel as well. He was, he drew the short straw. I think you're overseas when we made that decision, and yeah, so he had to take his top off and wear a moustache and get covered in baby oil. The budget was almost non-existent, really. So the three of us had to do everything, and sort of, I guess, just by having to be involved in every sort of aspect of production, that you just sort of ended up learning a lot more. You know, you were writing all the scripts, you were booking all the guests, you were sitting in the truck, you know, directing, you were on set floor managing, you were often the talent as well, you know, running around.
If you watch the 3 seasons of Goes the Weasel, you can see us.
If you buy the box
as well.
set, yeah.
When does that come out?
But
you can see each time we tried different stuff, and we tried to make it better and better every time. And I think that was a really good place to do that, because we learned a lot about television during the period of making those 3 series. It very nearly didn't get picked up as well, because we had made a pilot and gone in for funding, and it had been turned down. But then Rachel Jean started at TV3 and sort of saw the benefits of having something like 7 days on TV3, and so she really pushed for it, and that's when it eventually got out. All of the press leading up to our first episode, they talked to all the comedians who were on it. And this was throughout New Zealand. All of that press was, we're not good at comedy, why is this going to be better? It wasn't, hey, we're trying another show, we're trying something new. It was, this isn't going to be very good, is it? What are you going to do if it's no good? TV3 let us get away with some actually relatively defamatory stuff in the earlier sort of episodes, and I guess it's a little bit more forgivable with satire, as a rule, isn't it, right, James? Legally speaking, yep. So what you want, satire. But even like cuss words and things like that, they let us, again, just sort of push it a little bit further, and I think that was a little bit more intriguing maybe to early audiences that were, right, they really can say whatever they want, really, and I think that sort of, I don't know, it was quite exciting, I think, in the early stages, yeah, about what you could sort of get away with. In the early stages it was fun, swearing all the time because no one else was doing it, and you know, but I think that joke sort of reaches a zenith, and I think that maybe we need to sort of, I don't know, it's kind of nice sort of doing a little bit of self-censorship. You don't have to say fuck all the time just to get a laugh.
Actually coming back to making jokes rather than just swearing.
Yeah.
One of the earlier things that we sort of joked about was the Clayton Weatherston thing and the Tony Veach thing. They were 2 big things that jokes were made of, which actually quite serious, but the jokes were made in a very clever way. And I think now that has a trickle-down effect to us where we are at the moment, where we can talk about big stories like Osama being killed, and they have a place in the show because that's what the show has come to be. And people now will hear a news story and go, wow, I wonder what 7 Days will have to say about that, you know.
James Coleman used to come into our office to do the radio shows, and we always had we'd always have old like props and bits and pieces left over from shoots, and Coleman would always come in and go, oh, you're going to use that chicken wire for anything? Or like, you could probably just take it if you want, Coleman.
What about that used halogen bulb?
No, if you want it.
Take it.
So he was always kind of scabbing stuff from the office. And then when we got to go to his shed to see where it all ended up, it's sort of where the idea came from, I guess. It was blokes in shed turboing things. And Coleman, he was kind of the inspiration for it, eh?
I don't really like, you know, home renovation shows or, you know, people just blowing stuff up for the sake of it. But I think because of the characters that they got involved through casting, and of course James and Greg, I think that they've got two funny guys who just sort of brought the most out of these situations. We
let James and Paigey go for it and do what they want, and because they are naturally funny people, a lot of funny things came out of that. And I think you actually learn stuff within the show as well. So they're my two things that I really like about the show. In the morning, you sit down with everyone and go, this is what we're doing. We're in this shed, and we're down in the quarry. You tell the talent that, and then you basically direct as you go, really. You guys were yelling stuff out, try this, try that, try this. But there was no real, it's not like a script, then you say this line, you say this line, which is, I think, part of the fun of doing a show like that, because you just let them go. And editing is quite forgiving in that situation, because you can do jump cuts. You can go from one shed to another and it doesn't matter. So just letting people go for it a little bit and going, we're going to spend 2 hours here, so whatever you guys do in this 2 hours, we're going to pick up.
It didn't do very well at all in the ratings, but then it was quite unusual though, because we're up against Piha Rescue, which was just...
And The Amazing Race.
Amazing Race, which was just smashing it every week. And then the one week they weren't off, they were off, sorry, we did really, really well. So it's, I mean, you sort of can bemoan the situation, but that said, you know, another show like, you know, Drug Wars or something like that comes in, and then they start smashing Piha Rescue. So it's like, well, obviously our show wasn't really offering what that audience wanted at that particular time. And I mean, it is that funny thing with television that you really try to make the best show possible, and you make that, and everyone seems to be very happy with it. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't rate, it doesn't really exist. I mean, it's just move on to the next thing.
We made a short film which we just funded ourselves about the greyhounds, and it was a lot different to what Hounds has turned out to be, but we just loved the world so much when we went there. We went there for one of Ryan's birthdays one time, and were just struck by the characters and but you sort of go there thinking, oh, this is going to be white trash, horrible, everyone drinking whiskey, and it's not. You go there and people are enjoying themselves and having fun. They're the loveliest people, they're really friendly, and so it's really good sort of interaction between the two worlds in Hounds that it sort of turned out to be. And it's a really colourful world as well, so it sort of worked really well in the short film. We thought it would be great for a TV series.
Every day was so exciting and just so different, and it just felt so unreal that we'd really been given this opportunity to sort of make the show. And it was all terrifying at the same time, because you really didn't want to mess up.
We can see a scene as we workshop it on the day and go, that line's not working, or the way this person does this isn't working. We can talk about it there and then and do rewrites, which we did every day.
I think we were pretty good at that actually, as not really settling on stuff either, eh? Like,
yeah.
I'd say with 95% of the scenes we shot, we were, you know, I was certainly happy with them, eh?
Oh, you mean by the end of it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's quite funny, but as we were shooting them, I think you'd almost say that the ratio would be reversed, where you'd hear the scene the first time, and 95% of the time, one of us wasn't happy for one reason. There was a line that would stick out, there'd be performance that'd be going the wrong way, there'd just be so many different things that just weren't how you'd... So it was, but I guess it's just an experience thing for us as well, as we've never really been on something this big with this many scenes, where there are just so many things to be constantly aware of and tinkering with. I don't understand how one person does it, to be honest. And you can see why you have meltdowns on set from directors, eh? Like, it's just insane. Like, there's just so many things to think about. It's too much.